Well, join me, Marcus, as I walk the Nash Point circular walk, and on the way we're going to go past some old villages of Marcross and St Donat's, and of course we're going to pass the Nash Point Lighthouse. So as usual on this walk I'm going to show you the exact route, so when you come to do it you won't get lost, and also hopefully you won't get chased off the land by some irate farmer. Well, the details. The route itself is about 4.5 miles, which is just over 7 kilometres, and it takes about an hour and a half. It's relatively flat, although part of the path is quite uneven, it's quite worn, and it does get muddy in parts. And one section is quite unusual because you go past, or you have to go through a Victorian kissing gate. And they must have been much thinner then, because it's really, really narrow. I'll show you that when we get to it. And as you can see, it's a bit grey, bit of a mist in the air, but fingers crossed, will it brighten up? Well, I'm starting here at Nash Point car park by the little cafe. Parking's £3, but luckily this morning the attendant's not here. So it's just across from Nash Point Lighthouse, which I'll be showing in more detail on the return route. Again, I'll put the starting point and a link to the maps in the description below, so take a look at that. Anyway, initially I'm going to be heading inland to the village of Marcross. So let's get started. Well, we're off. So with the beach and the cafe behind us and the valley there going down to the beach, we're heading up the small road we drove into park. This takes us up to the village of Marcross. Well, I'm walking this about 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, and it is really quiet, just the birds. I did say earlier, it's very quiet. Unfortunately, I've come across a group of ramblers doing the exact same walk, I think. So I have to hold back. Anyway, they're out and about enjoying themselves. So we're just coming into Marcross village, a very small village in the Vale of Glamorgan, very interesting. It does have an old church, quite a small church, but it dates from the 12th century. So obviously on this walk, I'm showing you the route, but when you do it, take some time out to visit the church. Well, listen to those crows. Well, anyway, just past the church, we're going to be taking a right just before a cream-coloured bungalow to rejoin the path. So there, it's about 20 yards past the church. It is signposted. So we head up here. It looks like you're going into somebody's driveway, but the path actually turns to the left here. So on paths like these, this is where it gets muddy. Not too bad though. And a tree's blown down in the recent storms. Let I'm stuck to it. Shall I leave that on camera? Getting stuck to a tree. And there's another one that's fallen. It's smoother than this when Derek Brockway does the walks. I only gave this walk 3 stars, not because of the views, basically because of the maintenance. The stiles, for example, are all rotting, so be careful climbing over those. So I'm crossing the field, hedge to the left. You can see the lighthouse to your right, and beyond that is the coastline of Somerset going into Devon. The path takes a sharp left. We continue around the field with a hedge to our left, and ahead of us you'll see another waypoint. So there's the way marker. So about 200 yards in front of you across the field you can make out a stone stile, and that's where we're going, straight across there. Well, actually we're going to follow the edge of the field, not to spoil the farmers' crops, but we are going over there. There is another stile there, ignore that one. We're going around here to the stone one, and behind it you can make out a farm and farm sheds. And again over there you've got great views of the lighthouse and the foghorns. Obviously on this small camera you can't make it out, but in person, trust me, you can. It's tricky to do that with one hand. So again, you cross the field, 150 yards, if not a bit less. You can see a metal gate on the left, and that's where we're heading. And unfortunately, it's straight into the sun, so it's a bit dark on the camera. That takes us out onto a very small lane, the entrance to the farm, and we're going to be taking a right, and it is marked. So at the way marker, we take a right down this country lane. It's very quiet because it only goes to a house and one farm. So as you walk down the lane, the bungalow's on the left, the farmhouse is on your right. We're going straight on. It's a wooden gate, but it is public access, the footpath there. So that's where we're going. The gate is open. Hello, dogs. So there's the signs telling you the way to go. There's the wooden gate, and this shouldn't be locked. Hello, dog. A bit of company. Hello. Good boy. So I made a couple of friends there with the dogs. So we're on a little tarmac path, only for about 75 yards. You get to a dead end with a metal gate saying private road, but we're taking a left just before that. So there's the private road. We can't go that way. We take a left there, and Mr. Cows, or Mrs. Cow I should say, is in the way. Excuse me. Excuse me. I need to come in. So you enter there. Curious cows everywhere. Hello. Hey, wait a minute. And we're heading that way. Only about 20-25 yards across this field. you ever get the feeling you're being followed? So you get to this wooden stile. Bye girls. See you next time. Exactly. Unfortunately, you can't come with me. So after leaving my friends, you get to a large field, you go diagonal to the right. Again, I'll show you this on the camera, but the sun is coming from the east because it's the morning, so it may be a bit dark. Friendly cows, Vale of Glamorgan cows for you. So as I mentioned, some of the stiles and fences aren't in the best condition. Anyway, we've crossed the big field. We take a left, field wall on our left. And this is where it can get a bit confusing because, like I said, the path hasn't been maintained for a long time, even though it has been walked. And you may think you're going onto private property, but you're not. So we walk about 50 yards through this field, wall on our left. People are taking that road there, but the correct way, the official path, is over that stone stile in front of me. So that's what I'm taking. You can see we're on the correct route, and it's a small section of land between the farm and somebody's house. You can see it's a bit overgrown, and people are taking that alternative route, which is just over there. You can see the black gravel road there. Originally it was fenced off, but the fence has collapsed. So again, this is the reason why I've given it just 3 stars, not because it's a bad walk, because it needs some maintenance. Anyway, this comes out on a country lane, and when it comes out onto the road, onto the lane, we're taking a right. Again, people are going out to the gate, but the official way is that stile there. So as we climb the stile, we take a right, only for about 10 yards. There's the rundown barn there we passed. Then you get to another driveway with a garage and a farmhouse. So there's the farmhouse on your left. There's the garage in front of you. There's a skip there for, there's a peacock. So if you look at the gate next to the garage, you can see the waypoints there. Again, so that's the gate I just passed through. We keep to the right. There's a footpath down here. We keep going down. To this one. We're back in the countryside in a pretty forested valley. We want to keep going down, so don't go up there. We're going that way because that takes us down the valley itself. and we're heading to the village of St. Donat's. Listen to those birds. The walk through this valley is only about 5 to 10 minutes, but we come out just below St. Donat's Castle, near St. Donat's Church. So ahead of you, you probably can't make it out because it's in the light, it's overexposed a bit up there, is St. Donat's Castle, once owned by the newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst, who the character Citizen Kane was based on. I made a video about this area on my other travel, Fly Drive Explore, and explained the famous film stars and people that have stayed there over the years. So it's now a college, Atlantic College. As you can see, the footpath, we go up the hill there, but before we do so, we're going to go and have a look at St. Donat's Church. So that's St. Donat's Church, but we're going up the hill, and the castle's on your right as you walk up the hill. Even in the countryside, you got the dulcet tones of a power saw. Anyway, St. Donat's Castle is now part of Atlantic College, UWC Group, United World Colleges. There's 6 form colleges, international schools. I think Atlantic College here was the first, opened in the 1960s. They take students from about 90 countries, and they've got about 350-ish students. At the top, it's well signposted, public footpath left. I don't know if you can see on camera, my head's getting a bit shiny. It is quite warm. There's no wind either, so the coat's going to come off. So we're coming up to the gate, and we're going to join the road. We're taking a right here. So we leave the grounds of St. Donat's, we take a right down the country road, past the main entrance of St. Donat's, then we're going to take a right back into the countryside towards the cliffs, and that's where that strange kissing gate is, for very thin people. It's not the busiest of roads, but just take care in this part. And it's relatively wide for a country road. Well, I've overtaken the ramblers. They were having a snack in St. Donat's Church. So we're now coming up to the main entrance of St. Donat's, and the road curves to the left, and that's where we're heading. Up this way. Is it just me? Or do you ever get the feeling, where's my keys? Where's my car keys? I just had one of those moments. As you walk up the road from St. Donat's, you get to a very small lay-by on your right, and this is where we turn off. Hidden in the lay-by, in that wall over there, is a very small kissing gate. Though when I mentioned at the start, it must have been really small back in the day, really thin. Have a look at this. We've just walked up that road and there's the kissing gate in the wall. Breathe in. I know I'm slightly overweight, but I'm not the biggest. Breathe in. Even getting through here. So I'm through, and you come out into some playing fields. I think they're called George V playing fields. And behind the trees in front of you, you can see the sea. Well, we've left the playing fields. We're heading towards the sea and the Bristol Channel. When you get there, the path turns to the left along the cliff tops, but we want to go right. So we take this gate back towards Nash Point. I did mention at the start that the walk was relatively flat, but this is the area where it gets a bit worn and muddy. So, like I said, it's not really bad, but just take care over this part along the top of the cliffs. Well, through the trees, you probably can make out the beach of St. Donat's. Well, there's St. Donat's Castle and Atlantic College, and we're heading down towards the bay. So the path now takes us down to St. Donat's, the back of the castle and the bay. This section's easy to follow. There's only one way to go along the coast, heading west. Like I mentioned earlier, on my other channel, Fly Drive Explore, I've got another video about this area which goes into the history of places like St. Donat's in more depth. So I'll link that below and I'll put the video at the end as well. By the way, if you're into fossils, this coast is good for fossil hunting. So we've now passed St. Donat's and we head up the coastal path. Again, it's marked. You can see the little signs on the wall up here. So we're leaving St. Donat's Bay now. Quite a steep climb up the side of the cliffs. Again, excuse the panting. Another stone stile. So we left St. Donat's, climbed up the side of the bay to the top of the cliffs of the woods, and now it opens up into fields. So we're getting closer to Nash Point, and the lighthouse is looming on the horizon, and the lights are flashing. It's daytime, but they've kept the lights on. So when you come to do this walk, take your time. Today I'm just showing you the route, but make sure you enjoy Nash Point and the beach below. Check out the churches in Marcross and St Donat's. Stop at St Donat's Bay. Go fossil hunting. You know, stop in the Plough Harrow near Broughton on the way back. Just take your time. Well, Nash Point Lighthouse was the last manned lighthouse in Wales. The lighthouse keepers left in 1998. So we leave Nash Point Lighthouse behind us and head down the road towards the cafe and the car park. So that was my Nash Point walk. This part of the South Wales coast is known as the Heritage Coast, and if you haven't been, it's definitely worth a visit. Anyway, more videos coming up very shortly, and I'll see you in one of those. But in the meantime, keep walking.